Whether you see it or not, homelessness is everywhere. In Buncombe County, it's estimated that 518 people are homeless on any given night. Homeward Bound works to end the cycle of chronic homelessness in Asheville through programs designed to move the homeless into permanent housing. We believe housing is the answer. We envision a day when those most vulnerable will no longer be invisible. For more information on how you can help, go to hbofa.org.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today for Homeward Bound's virtual event to end homelessness, also known as the Welcome Home Luncheon. As many of you know, this has traditionally been an in-person event with a catered lunch from our generous sponsor, Ingalls Markets. Instead, this year, they are graciously delivering meals to our clients at the Woodfin Apartments, the Red Roof Inn, and the Super 8 Hotel, where they are temporarily sheltering. We are very grateful for their continued support. So this is our 9th year hosting this event, and that powerful PSA you just saw was filmed 10 years ago. The Homeward Bound logo has changed, and so has our web address, but our passion for this work hasn't waned one bit in the last 10 years. In fact, we are more passionate than ever about this work. Homeward Bound's mission is still dedicated to preventing and ending homelessness with permanent housing and support. In 2006, we adopted the Housing First model, which is the national best practice to end homelessness. It places people into housing first without prerequisites such as sobriety, mental health stability, employment, etc., and then wraps supportive services around them to help them stabilize and sustain housing successfully. And since that time, we have found homes for more than 2,230 individuals and families. 89% have not returned to homelessness. Another thing that hasn't changed is the fact that there are roughly 500 people who are experiencing homelessness on any given night. 10 years ago, it was 518, and last year, in 2020, it was 547. While homelessness has become very visible in our community through COVID-19, with individuals in campsites on public property such as Aston Park, Cherry Street, and under the I-240 bridge downtown, we don't know who these individuals are, really. We don't know where they've been, what trauma they have endured, or what other struggles they've been through. Do we really see them? I'll tell you something that has dramatically changed: the lives of the 3 individuals featured in the film after they moved into housing. After she was housed, Alicia went to work for Homeward Bound as a peer support specialist at AHO. She went on to get her undergraduate degree and master's degree in social work, and today provides case management to men in recovery at one of our partner agencies, October Road. Brandon was successfully housed with his family, and while we are no longer in touch with him, we are certain that a successful housing placement was the boost that he needed to improve his life's trajectory and path. After James moved into housing, he worked for us too for a while, but has since passed away. Another change that happened was COVID-19. As we all know, this past year has been incredibly difficult. The coronavirus has created anxiety, isolation, and even trauma for many of us. Can you imagine going through this pandemic without the comfort and security of your own home? We know that housing is healthcare. There has never been a world event, at least in my lifetime, that has accentuated that more than this pandemic. If you don't have a stable and secure housing option to shelter in place during a public health crisis like COVID-19, you cannot be expected to stay safe from this virus. But there is a solution. Stay tuned and you will hear about it today. Please settle in, enjoy your personally crafted lunch, and listen to some inspiration from folks who have lived through the struggles of being homeless and the service providers they rely on. First up is a spoken word performance by Nani Egbuna. Nani is a recent graduate of Duke University, now living, working, and attending school in Atlanta, Georgia. She has dedicated her life thus far to art, using storytelling to uplift and empower under and/or misrepresented populations. Nani's poem is called Invisibility.
As artists, we romanticize home and make metaphor out of brick and mortar. We build our foundations with personification of picket fences and laminate wood floors. Mama's kitchen becomes launch pad for impractical dreams and impractical jokes. We reminisce about belly laughs on full stomachs and make mama the whisk-wielding potter of lives molded with love and laughs and leftovers. When I was a child, I learned how to call upon the invisible. I learned how to build monuments with only the monologues in my back pocket. And I looked at myself as a carpenter of sorts. I knew that one day I would craft a home for myself with these words, and I grew comfortable, idealizing a bare necessity. So I'm here to say I am guilty. Who am I to call myself an architect if my only medium is abstraction? Who am I to call myself a visionary when within my line of sight are human beings made to feel as though they have no place but the underpass? If I am being honest, these figures of speech allow me to blur the figures of beings on front stoops. If I turn poverty into poem, I might feel as though I've done enough to dismantle disparities that never should have been present in the first place. I wonder if, to put it plainly, is too paradoxical for my Promethean mind to bear. But here are the facts. On the day that I wrote this piece, there were 567,715 homeless individuals in the United States. On the day that I wrote this piece, people who look like me were nearly 5 times more likely than white people to experience homelessness. On the day that I wrote this piece, I drove by a tent city only a few streets over from my own. And on the day that I wrote this piece, I questioned what it means to call upon invisible things at the expense of that which I can see, of those who I can see. What good is it to see it all if I allow myself to become desensitized to living images of struggle and neglect and pain and government failure? I see you. With innovation bred from the need for survival, I see you. With a story that is worthy no matter its contents, I see you. With a history and a future that hold just as much weight as my own, I see you. I am an artist. I specialize in making ugly truths sound pretty by stringing words together on notebook paper. I know what it means to see invisible things, but today, I commit to seeing that which the world has rendered invisible. Those who the world has rendered invisible, you are not invisible. I see you.
Thank you, Nani. Your poem, I'm sure, strikes a chord with many of us. Can we all commit to seeing that which the world has rendered invisible? At Homeward Bound, our clients are not invisible. Seeing their humanity is who we are. We believe that housing is a basic human right, no exceptions. And the key to keeping people in housing is trained, compassionate, non-judgmental staff who care about the people we serve. Last year, we ended homelessness for 87 individuals and prevented homelessness for 88 more. More than 1/3 of them were veterans. We partnered with 76 local landlords to provide housing throughout Buncombe County. We outreached to 113 individuals living outside, in the streets, in cars, under bridges, and in encampments, and connected them to medical and mental health services, food, clothing, substance use treatment, permanent housing resources, and helped move them into city sheltering hotels. We have sheltered over 100 individuals in hotels throughout the COVID pandemic, and we are very grateful to the City of Asheville and to FEMA, who are funding this effort while we lead the operations. We are also grateful for the many volunteers and agencies who have provided meals, like Haywood Street Congregation, 12 Baskets, Food Connection, YMCA, and the host of churches and business groups who have kept our clients well fed. We are also grateful for the outpouring of support from the community, for household goods for those who are transitioning into permanent housing. Lastly, thank you to the churches like Central United Methodist and Jubilee who opened their fellowship halls for designated warming centers this winter to keep people safe and warm on our coldest days. Our community has an amazing network of caring and compassionate people. I am now pleased to share with you a short film depicting Homeward Bound's work. You'll hear from our clients and how their lives changed after they moved into housing, and from our staff who are on the front line of ending homelessness every single day.
The invisibility of homelessness is a paradox. On one hand, folks are not invisible. They're very visible. They live in a public space, and their vulnerability and their need is on display. But on the other hand, in your humanity, you're invisible. People don't see you for the person that you are.
A lot of people, I think, they feel uncomfortable when they walk by a homeless person, whereas they won't even make eye contact.
We lost another client who had lived at the Woodfin, who was hit by a car crossing the street 9:30 on a Sunday night and was hit and passed away. Someone turned the corner and just didn't see him. We were the ones that needed to let the other people in this community know. One of them mentioned to a case manager that he just didn't understand why don't people see us?
I think it's not just being unseen, it's being misunderstood as to what their situation is and how hard it is to get the support that you need to come out of that. Mental health care in our community is basically impossible to get if you don't have insurance. It's very hard for folks experiencing homelessness to get insurance because that typically means they have to get disability, which again is a very complicated, long process. And when you're living outside, just trying to figure out where you're gonna sleep and where you're gonna eat, going through that process is not your top priority. Your top priority is survival.
So we definitely have grieved losing a fair number of clients towards the end of 2020. We had another long-term client who had suffered with Huntington's disease for many years. We had just recently gotten her moved into a skilled nursing facility because she needed that extra level of support. And then COVID went through that facility and she passed away from COVID.
Shelters who generally are willing to open up their doors for additional folks to come in when it's super cold, which is what we call the Code Purple nights. They're not able to do that right now because it's not safe and because they're worried about spreading the virus.
We need housing for people that are sleeping outside when it's snowing tonight to be able to have a bed to sleep in inside.
Being in Asheville, especially the winters, they're really harsh here. Especially with COVID-19 this year, we're gonna probably have some that freeze to death.
I think the most heartbreaking thing for me is that we don't have enough resources in our community, especially when you work in homeless services. You feel like you're just telling people no over and over and over again. I mean, to qualify for one of our programs, you have to be outside at least a year.
We have recognized through COVID-19 that homelessness is an issue that not just affects those who are experiencing it, but it affects the entire community. And we have finally gotten to a point where people can no longer ignore it. People are starting to communicate that they're seeing increased encampments, that they're concerned about safety, that they're concerned about public safety.
And as a community, it's our responsibility to help these folks be cared for and help these folks have a safe place to go and live. And it's really the foundation of our work, is that we believe everyone has the right to housing. And so to do that, we have to have support from the community.
But I do think that the homeless people need someone to be a voice for them.
A Hope, in my mind, is a sacred space. People reveal their vulnerabilities and their humanity at A Hope. They're willing to entrust their stories with others.
One project that we are incredibly excited about is our A Hope renovation, and that is the renovation of our day center, which is really the hub for Homeward Bound in terms of being able to come and access services.
Once every year, we used to have to update every single person who came into A Hope's paperwork. And in that paperwork, the last thing you would ask them is, who is your emergency contact? And over and over and over again, the clients would respond back to me, just A Hope staff. If something significant happens to me, that's who I want to know first, is A Hope.
I would say that the biggest impact that we've been able to make through this virus is being able to partner with the city of Asheville to provide shelter, first at Harris Cherokee Center in downtown Asheville, and then now at the Red Roof Inn, where we are currently housing in their own private rooms about 65 individuals so that they can stay safe and secure.
You know, working with Homeward Bound, this has been a godsend at the Red Roof Inn. It got us off the street.
I met James and Melody about 6 months ago while they were still experiencing homelessness outside before they came here to the Red Roof Inn. I still get calls like on a weekly basis from community partners of like, is there a room open at Red Roof Inn? How do we get someone in there? So there's definitely still a huge need there.
One of the reasons I really love Homeward Bound is we are completely committed to ending homelessness, not just managing it. And that all begins with the concept of housing first.
The housing first model is just as the name implies. Our goal is to get people into housing and then wrap services around them to support them.
I'm stable now. My housing is set. About a year now. This month makes 1 year. The housing came first. I was able to see clearer now, you know, what I'm able to do as a person. I mean, I feel security. I feel it's a sense of security. Like if I'm hungry, I can go back to my apartment. I can eat something and cook my own food. Or say if I have to use the restroom, I don't have to, oh my God, where am I going to go? I'm right down the street.
But as of Tuesday, we signed a lease.
So I know that's really happy. I'm telling you right now, it saved our lives.
We're helping James and Melody get moved into their apartment and into housing. You got it? Yep. A team of case managers and our Welcome Home team showed up to help bring a bed, furniture, kitchen supplies, cleaning supplies, everything they would need to kind of make the apartment a home. Yeah, the furniture donations we get from the community are so meaningful and really just huge for setting people up for success.
Any household goods that someone is replacing and needs to get rid of the old ones, they can bring them by our Welcome Home Donation Center and we can reuse them for someone who's just leaving homelessness and moving into housing.
Sorry, no, it's okay. It was a blessing. It's been a blessing. This has been awesome. I still sit here and think, is this really our place? This is what I've always needed is support, and for the first time we have a lot of support.
We mention often here at Homeward Bound that homelessness is a community problem and it will take a community to solve it. And I think that's what we're seeing through this pandemic.
I think we live in a very caring and giving community.
One of the primary differences in the work Homeward Bound does is that we are in it for the long haul with our clients, that it could be 6 months or 6 years, but we're gonna stick with that person until we know that they're stable in housing.
It helps to know that he's there if I'm having a bad day, or if I need something, or if I don't understand something, he's there, so. I mean, it's just hard, but.
Thank you for that card. That was really sweet. I really appreciate you saying that and giving that card to me.
I've never had support like this. My family, I mean, my mom was not a very loving person at all, and she put me through a lot of stuff.
And I gotta say something about being homeless. And my family used to say this about me, and I used to get frustrated. Some of them actually said, "David, I think you like that lifestyle." And it was insulting to me. I did feel a little bit invisible, in the sense that I knew my situation, what it was, and maybe people could detect it in me, but I knew there was so much more.
We like to say, honestly, that we're working with the folks that nobody else will serve, that they're the folks who are sort of the unseen in our community.
So I hope that moving forward, it isn't that this is an unseen population, that it is a population that we as a community are working towards moving into housing.
While we believe that we've made great strides, especially through this pandemic, where we've got some great projects on the horizon to really address the needs of our individuals experiencing homelessness, there's still a lot more work to be done.
Thank you so much, Katie Damian, for once again producing a wonderful film for Homeward Bound. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Jim Louder, and I'm honored to work with Homeward Bound as its Strategic Gifts Officer. I've been blessed over the past 10 years to meet so many incredibly generous people whose giving is saving lives and making our community a better place to live. Not just for those experiencing homelessness, but for all of us. I believe that the quality of a community is measured by how it treats its most vulnerable citizens. What I love most about Homeward Bound is that every day we see the faces, hear the stories, and provide care to the most vulnerable people in our midst. I spent my career working on issues related to affordable housing and homelessness. I think I might have chosen this path in part because my parents were mill workers. Early on, we lived in a mill house where occupancy was tenuously dependent on having a job at the mill, and then we lived for a time doubled up with an aunt, uncle, and cousin. We were never literally homeless, but thanks to the hard work and sacrifice of my parents and the generosity of extended family, I learned how having a home was essential and intertwined with health and well-being. As a Baptist pastor for many years, a core value for me was seeing and caring for those most vulnerable.
That led our church in San Francisco to operate a 120-bed shelter for the homeless and also provide permanent supportive housing for homeless persons living with HIV and AIDS. But nowhere have I seen more effective work at ending homelessness than at Homeward Bound. I think it comes from our values and our evidence-based best practices. We affirm the basic value and worth of every individual. We believe that housing is a basic human right. We believe that the right to housing is unconditional. And we believe that having a home is the foundation for personal growth and transformation. To all of you who have made possible our work to end homelessness, we offer our sincere and deepest thanks. We cannot do this work without you. Right now, there are over 200 people in our community living outside tonight, most of whom are chronically homeless and for whom Homeward Bound's permanent housing program is the only housing option they have left. That is because we never give up on anyone, no matter what their circumstances may be. So today I want to ask you to consider joining us and making a contribution to this vital, life-changing work. Your gift will help us move more people from the streets and campsites into permanent housing, which is the only solution to ending homelessness. For many, your investment will literally save their lives. Your gift will say, I see you. I care about you. You are valued. I want a better, safer, and more hopeful future for you. If you're able to contribute $1,200 or more, you will become part of our leadership giving circle, the Key Society. Giving can be done in a number of ways. The quickest way is simply to make an online donation. Just click the Donate Now button on our website and follow the prompts. You can also write a check, donate through an IRA, contribute through your donor advised fund, or make a donation of stock. On the donation page of our website, you'll find our contact information. If you would like more information or have questions, please feel free to contact me personally. And the impact of your gift today is greater than before because several of our generous donors have offered to match dollar for dollar all gifts up to $35,000. Again, thank you so much for supporting Homeward Bound's work to prevent and end homelessness. Now, I want to introduce you to a very talented local musician, Paula Hankey. In addition to her solo performances, she sings with the World Beat Band at Jubilee Community. Paula is going to perform an inspiring Oscar-nominated song from one of my favorite films, The Life Beyond. Paula, thank you so much for being with us today. Welcome back to Homeward Bound.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for that great introduction. I am a member of Jubilee's World Beat Band, and Jubilee has been a great supporter of and partner with Homeward Bound for many years. And the reason is because of the impact Homeward Bound has on our community. It has been a vital support system for so many folks who are on the streets, who have no homes, who have little or no income. They need stability and they need love. So, if you have the capacity, please give what you can to keep this important work going. I'm going to sing a song for you today, and it is a song from the recent movie, The Life Ahead, starring Sophia Loren. And this song was nominated for an Academy Award, and the meaning of the song so perfectly fits the purpose of Homeward Bound. So here it is. When you feel like no one understands you, I will. When you think no love can ever heal you, mine will. When you feel like you're invisible and no one sees you at all, I want you to know that you're seen. 'Cause I see you, and I see too who you are. You can't hide from me. I want you to know that you're seen. When you feel like this whole world's against you, I'm here. You'll always have someone who will protect you. Right here. And when you feel like you're invisible, I'll see you through it all. I want you to know that you're seen. 'Cause I see you, and I see too just who you are. You can't hide from me. I want you to know that you're seen. All alone in this world, we all long to be heard. Don't think no one knows what you feel. I want you to know that you're seen. 'Cause I see you. Oh, I see too who you are. You can't hide from me. I want you to know that you're seen. I want you to know that you're seen. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful, Paula. Thank you for sharing your gift of song with us today. Many gifts have come in during the past week and during our program today, and they will be going towards our operating budget. We will be good stewards of your donations, we promise. Your gifts go directly to ending homelessness right here in our community by providing stability and safety for our individuals and families when Homeward Bound finds them a home. As David said in the film, now that he has a home, he is stable and can see clearly what he is able to do as a person. He now feels seen. We will also do that by providing compassionate and supportive case management so folks like David and Melody and James can overcome the challenges they face and remain in housing. By supplementing the high rents in Asheville that are not covered by federal grants, and by covering unbudgeted emergency expenses we've incurred because of the coronavirus pandemic. You know, there's nothing quite like a crisis to force you to think more creatively about how to address your greatest challenges. Either that, or you throw up your hands and surrender. For years, our agency had been working to acquire land to build affordable housing for our chronically homeless, those who have been experiencing homelessness the longest while also suffering from chronic illness and disabilities. Between 2018 and 2020, we had identified numerous parcels on which to build a permanent housing development for this vulnerable population, but all of the opportunities fell through. We were weary, and then COVID happened. The economic impact to a tourist town like Asheville was significant, especially for commercial properties like hotels that are hospitality driven and only thrive when people can travel and gather. All of a sudden, converting and repurposing a hotel to affordable housing seemed to be the answer we had been looking for. We could pursue a hotel at a lower price point, finish the project faster, and it was socially responsible. The opportunity to repurpose an existing property was COVID's unexpected gift to Homeward Bound. And now for our big announcement to wrap up the event. Since October 2020, our agency has been completing due diligence on the Days Inn on Tunnel Road in Asheville. This hotel will become 85 units of affordable, permanent supportive housing for our unhoused neighbors. We plan to close on the property this summer and will quickly transition into our capital campaign and renovations. This housing initiative is called Home is Key, and each resident will have a comfortable, safe, and fully equipped apartment complete with a kitchenette and bath. Residents will receive individualized supportive services focused on housing stabilization and improving quality of life. Core services include on-site case management and 24/7 support staff to quickly respond to resident needs and to assure a safe environment for residents and guests. Additional services in partnership with community agencies will include behavioral health services, social and educational activities, food service, job training, and a medical clinic. The goal is to move residents into their new housing in late 2022. Home is key to health, safety, healing, and hope, and we are convinced it will be a game changer in ending chronic homelessness in our community. In closing, I want to thank all of our generous sponsors who have made this event possible. Ingalls Markets and iHeartMedia as our presenting sponsors, Nest Realty and Wicked Reed Brewing, our partner sponsors, Quilty Financial, Jag Construction, Asheville Technologies, Oliver Family, MB Haynes Corporation, Plum Dog Financial, Home Trust Bank, Biltmore Company, and Brunk Auctions. And a huge thank you to the two couples who created our See the Hope gift match of $35,000. The deadline to contribute to the match and double the impact of your gift is this Sunday, May 16th. As our tagline says, you are the key to ending homelessness. Your contributions will impact the lives of so many people struggling with the pain of homelessness. Together as a community, we can ensure that everyone has the right to live in security, peace, and dignity. Thank you for joining us.